Here's the thing. Charging premium prices for your services, it ain't easy for most of us. I'm right there with you. And that's why I'm so excited about today's conversation, because I'm talking to business and mindset coach Susi Kaeufer, and I used the opportunity and asked her to coach me. Yep, that's right. We did some real life coaching here, and you can listen in. Susi has been a business mentor and mindset coach since 2016 and an advocate for the location-independent lifestyle. 5 years ago, she quit her day job to travel the world full-time whilst working online. Her coaching business has evolved to multiple six figures each year whilst working 15 hours per week and working from more than 20 different countries. Talk about an inspiring lifestyle, right? And if you know me a little bit, you know I love traveling as well, so we had a lot to talk about. I can't wait for you to meet her, so let's dive in. Hey there, welcome to the Blissful Biz podcast. I'm your host, Susanne Riker, here to help yoga and wellness entrepreneurs build a thriving online business. If you're ready to make a bigger impact and earn money online, you are in the right place. Each week you learn about websites, digital products, social media strategies, and what's working now to build your online business. And now let's get started. Hi, Susi. Welcome to the Blissful Biz podcast.
Hello. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
I'm so excited to have you here. I'm really honored that you're on the show. I admire what you do so much and your lifestyle. And I know it's a great inspiration for many of our listeners. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yes, of course. I'm Susi Kaeufer. I was born in Germany. I lived there for 30 years. And then I quit my job to go on a round the world trip. Everybody thought I would come back after 1 year broke and sad and crying, begging for my old job. But that never happened. And that was 8 years ago. So I started my own coaching business whilst traveling the world and figured out how to market myself on social media and grow my business and sign clients. And then after a while, it shifted a little bit more into business coaching and mindset coaching, because a lot of people asked me, how did you do this? Where do you find clients? How do you make this so easy and effortlessly? And now in the meantime, it's a multiple six-figure coaching business with a couple of employees, including my fiance. And I've been traveling ever since, to be honest.
I love it. Where are you right now? Or at least when we are recording this?
I'm in Sydney, in Australia at the moment.
Okay. Have you been there for the full pandemic or?
No, actually, for the pandemic, we went to Vietnam, wanted to stay for 3 months. And then in the pandemic, it was actually interesting to have no home and to be a digital nomad, because suddenly in the pandemic, everybody went back home. And suddenly everybody had a home. And we were there and be like, well, where do we go? Like, it was the coolest thing ever to be really independent, But then when it came to where would you actually go in the pandemic, we didn't have anywhere to go. So we stayed in Vietnam, which was a blessing. But it took 1.5 years until we were able to leave. And now we're in Australia.
Yeah. Well, it's not really true. I had one friend also from Bali, and before the pandemic, she went like in February 2020, she went to Germany to visit her parents, and then she couldn't go back. And she was stuck because she doesn't have a home in Germany. So she wanted to stay with her parents for a really long time, which we all know that can get annoying, right? It's nice at first, but then she was just like, visiting one friend after the other. I think she was really happy when she finally could get back to her home in Bali.
I can imagine. I miss Bali. I haven't been for 2 years, and
the borders are open now.
Yes, they are.
I think, yeah.
They are. And I'm also planning my next Bali retreat. We're running a luxury retreat on Bali every year. And the last couple of years we had to postpone, and I'm so excited to be back for that.
Oh, that's interesting. So what do you do on your retreats?
Haha, do you want to come?
Yeah, maybe.
I love retreats. So my whole brand is about the Dream Life Deluxe, how to create an abundant, luxurious life. And it's really a personal development retreat for business owners in a very lush villa. It's the best villa I've ever been in my life. It's so luxurious. We have a private chef, we have a private driver, we have a private yoga teacher, and it's just a really beautiful, immersive experience. And, the vibes of Bali as well, when you take yourself out of your normal life and you go to Bali to just tap into your feminine energy and work on yourself and work on your growth and work on your business. It's just so good. You walk out as a different person after this week.
I mean, yeah, I get it. And I can imagine, so because you already said that like mindset is really a big focus for you right now, like where you've grown into it probably. How did that happen? So what did you do before your around the world trip? Do you have like a background?
I had a classic German corporate life and worked in the media industry, which was long hours and competitive. And like, it was this classic, you go to the office in the morning and you leave late in the evening. And I always had this, but I want to travel. But honestly, I didn't know that you can do that for a living. I just was not surrounded by entrepreneurs or bloggers or, I was surrounded by people that were like, yeah, that's nice, but what do you want to do? I mean, you can save some money and then do it for a year, but then you have to go back to your normal life. And
yeah, I'm exactly the same. I know it. Yeah. And I remember I actually went on the round the world trip probably way too soon in 2002, 2001, 2002. And you didn't meet any entrepreneurs on the round the world trip. You met people who like, I don't want to work another day in my life and don't face another challenge in my life. And that wasn't me.
Yes.
So I went back to my old job, which I actually loved. I was working in advertising too, but I just didn't see any other options at that time.
Yes, I understand that. I totally understand that. Now that I live this so much, I know so many people, and it's kind of like in my bubble now, everybody's an entrepreneur or a digital nomad, but it's really a bubble I needed to create by myself.
Yeah, it can feel challenging, but I mean, I'm now back in Hamburg, my hometown, and I have friends that I've known for a really, really long time. And nobody's doing what I'm doing. Nobody really gets what I'm doing. So yeah, it can be challenging. You feel like, a little bit like. So at the beginning, it was always like, because I was still freelancing half of the year, working in advertising, like full time, basically like an employee, just earning really good money while I was building up my business. And in the times when I was working just on my business, it was like, so are you working already? Yeah, I'm working. Yeah, but are you working? Do you have a job? I'm like, no, yeah. And I got so annoyed by it.
As if working can only be having a job. Yeah.
I got so annoyed by it. It felt like I felt like they didn't take it serious. It's like this little hobby or something. It was like probably some mindset issues that I had myself. It wasn't about them. It was about me. But yeah.
Watch me.
Exactly.
Get into the watch me attitude.
Now they see that it's working. Now they believe in me. Yeah. But how mindset? Let's get back to that. Because when I started my business, I was like, mindset, what's all this talk about mindset? I don't have any mindset issues. Thank you very much. I'm just here to make a good living, earn enough money so that I can live in Bali and travel wherever I want to. And that's it. And obviously, over the last years, I realized, okay, there might be some things in play here. And I'm way more open to it now. I'm like totally open to it. And I love mindset work. But I don't know. It's probably, how do you really get started as a mindset coach? And did you was it slowly happening because you helped other people, you saw the results? Like, what really was your evolution there?
My evolution was that I started with strategy in business coaching. I myself hired a business coach to learn the strategy. And I also felt like a lot of people hire me to learn the strategy. And then what I realized, though, is if I give 5 people the same strategy, or we talk about the same strategy, 2 people are going to be super successful and 3 not. And I, as a coach, I found that incredibly frustrating. I was like, oh my God, I want my clients to be successful. Like, what's going on? What's the difference between the 2 people that are rocking it, taking it out there, stepping out of their comfort zone, doing the thing, signing the clients, making the money, and the ones that do have the knowledge, but they don't get the same results? And for me, it was the same. I hired a strategy coach and I learned the basics of business building, how to pick a niche and how to do all the things. And then But then I noticed that I hit a plateau of what I'm achieving based on me having doubt that people would pay me high amounts of money. It was like, okay, there are all the other coaches, they charge high ticket prices and they get clients, but who would pay me such a high amount of money? Who am I to charge that much money? And there's these old trained voices coming back. You know, my family grew up in a like hardworking German environment where it's like, if you want to earn a lot of money, you have to work hard. If you want to earn more money, you have to work harder. That's just how it works. And this is a rule system that most people in my generation grew up with, that doesn't help in entrepreneurship, because there it's not true. In entrepreneurship, it's not true that the person who works the hardest has the biggest success. Because I know many people who work really, really hard and they're not successful in entrepreneurship.
I feel you're like describing me right now. I'm struggling. I mean, I'm getting there slowly, but I've been struggling with raising my prices for way too long, or even offering higher ticket offers.
Yes. And again, I blame the German mindset there. So there's nothing wrong with you. Even though I have many clients that are many clients that are not from Germany that say it's not a German thing. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the German upbringing is very about being humble and working hard and achieving more if you want to have more success.
Yeah, so probably. I also feel like in my head, I can let that go. But there's still some things.
There's still the action.
There's still things blocking me.
There.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's a fascinating topic.
So let's dive deeper into that.
Yes.
So you realized you had like 5 clients, 2 got results, 3 didn't. So what did you do then?
I started investing into mindset myself. So after hiring a business coach, I felt like, well, it's kind of stupid. Now I've hired a business coach. Now I need to hire a mindset coach. So I do both, which I really appreciate, because I do think you need both. And I feel like most people hire a strategy coach first, and then they're like, oh shit, now I need to hire a mindset coach. Oh, stupid. But yeah, I've put a lot of studying into how do successful 6-figure business owners think, act, sell, price, check in with failure, and what's the gap? So I noticed there is a gap of how successful 6-figure business owners think and how people think that, learn and are perfectionists and avoid failure and struggle with money mindset. And that's when I noticed, okay, that's the gap I need to close.
Okay. That's great. I love that. So let's talk a little bit about really how to get to that 6-figure or multiple 6 figures, because I feel like, a lot of my listeners are yoga teachers, and a lot of them have really money mindset issues, like you shouldn't charge for yoga. It's it's not a profession that a lot of people get rich doing, like most don't. And I think I've talked about that on the show a little bit, but I've never really covered that step of, okay, you have like your basic income, but how do you get more? How do you get like to the next step to have a really stable, sustainable income? And that's really it's a thing I thought about a lot. I think actually the pandemic helped with that. So many women rely on their husband or man to be the main provider of the family. It's the whole system supports that, right? And so it's like very often they have like their little business. So they teach yoga, they teach health coaching or something like that. But they treat it a little bit like a hobby. I don't want to belittle it, but very often that's the case. And with the pandemic, or even before, like maybe there's the situation where the husband couldn't provide anymore, or there's a divorce, or it's like financial problems or whatever. And it's time for women and wives and mothers to step up. I believe really strongly that every woman should be financially independent.
I agree with you. I'm also very passionate about this topic.
Yeah.
And you're right.
Empowerment.
Yes. And the interesting thing again is there are people that make a lot of money with yoga. So the question is actually, how do they do it? Instead of sitting there and, surrounding yourself with every yoga teacher that charges 15 euros per hour, and you stay in this little bubble and you're like, how would anyone ever make a lot of money with this? Because there's only so much time I can trade if I teach a yoga class. That makes sense. Yeah. The limitation makes sense to me. The question is, how do we break out of this box of thinking and really look at it? Sometimes you just need to look at it a little bit from an outside perspective as well. If you can't see yourself as the, multiple six-figure entrepreneur and personal brand, step back and have a look at, okay, but how could you do it? How do other people do it? There are people who have a massive free platform on YouTube and then they sell courses or a membership. There are people who offer these whole holistic packages, which include yoga and coaching and, nutrition, all the things you can do there that, people need instead of just the yoga asana. I always hire a yoga teacher for my luxury retreat on Bali. And I'm not looking for the cheapest yoga teacher. There are a lot of cheap yoga teachers on Bali, but for my retreat, which I want to be a really luxurious experience for my customers, I'm hiring the best yoga teacher. And I honestly don't care how much he charges. I have a budget for the retreat, and it's a very generous budget, so we're not stingy on anything for the retreat. So I hire a personal brand yoga teacher that I really want to have for my clients. And that is the kind of reputation a yoga teacher, as an example, would have to establish. So she becomes a go-to person for wealthy people, for retreat leaders, for whoever actually wants. So it's a different ideal client. It's really understanding who am I talking to. Like I'm a coach. I'm not the cheapest coach out there. If you're looking for a really cheap mindset and business coach, I can refer you to a couple of people, but it's probably not going to be me. However, I've built a business where people are like, yeah, but I want to work with Susi. I know there are many people who can teach me this, and there are mindset courses and mindset coaches and business coaches and so many business courses, your head could explode. But when you build a personal brand where people are like, look, there are so many people out there, but I want to learn it from her. That's when you leave this bubble of trading an hour for 15 euros.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think what's also a good point is that, so the high ticket premium niche works really well if you want to increase your income, but it doesn't have to be that niche. Yep. You could also go with, okay, I want to reach more people, offer like a more affordable price and build a business based on that. Like, as you said, there are people who really build like 7-figure businesses starting sharing free yoga videos on YouTube every single week.
Yes.
So it can be both, because I don't know, it's probably a mindset thing that I'm having, but especially when I was in Bali and you meet so many coaches, like everybody's like a business coach or a mindset or a life coach, and everybody was high ticket. And it could feel like a little bit like a pyramid scheme. Like, okay, I teach you how to make those high ticket prices yourself. And that's why you pay me the big bucks. And then I teach you to do exactly the same. And it was, I don't know, it felt a little bit off to me.
It's interesting. I sometimes hear that and I don't perceive it that way. So I'm like, well, maybe I'm in the middle of the pyramid. I don't know. No, but there's this kind of coaches coaching coaches, how to coach coaches, how to coach coaches.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, huh? So I don't only work with coaches. I work with all kind of entrepreneurs. But I also think coaches value coaching. Like I always have a coach, and I myself, when I would invest into a coach, I do look into someone who can, help me grow. So that might be financially, but it doesn't have to be. But it is usually someone we hire that we aspire to be like. And I think that can absolutely lead to that.
Yeah.
Now, high ticket coaching versus low ticket coaching is just honestly a matter of what business modules, like business model suits you. I have a Tony Robbins coach. He works for Tony Robbins. He gets clients because he's in the Tony Robbins, system. Nobody really knows his name, but he's in the, so he coaches. He does nothing else. He doesn't do his own marketing. He doesn't have his own website. He doesn't post on social media. He just gets the coaching clients from the Tony Robbins company, and he coaches 6 hours a day, 30 hours per week. And that's how he makes a very good living. And he's very happy with that because he just wants to coach. He doesn't want to market. He doesn't want to find clients. Now, the other business model, or one that I personally have, is, I have like my knowledge base, which is courses, So that everybody can join, and it's very scalable, because honestly, if I create the course, I don't care if 5 people join the course or 50 or 500. For me, it's the same amount of work. But then if I have 50 people in my course, maybe 5 of them want to coach with me because they're like, oh, I love the content, I would love to hire her. And that's where high ticket kind of comes in, because I don't want to coach 10 or 15 or 20 people. I don't know how the Tony Robbins coach does it. Maybe because he has nothing else on his plate. I like to really work, like I like to know my clients. I want to know your business. I want to know your mindset issues. I want to know the stories that you keep playing in your head. And I don't want to ask you again after 3 weeks, oh, what was that again? Why are you doing this? So that is when people want to work with a handful of clients one-on-one, where usually charges are higher. But then also I like to have different things for different people. So not everybody wants to hire a high ticket coach, and that's totally fine. Don't let people tell you can't be successful if you don't hire a high ticket coach or some nonsense like that. It's for people who want this. And other people can join other coaches, can join group coaching, can join a membership for $27, can read a book. There are just so many things you can do. And nobody has to hire a high ticket coach.
Obviously, of course. And it was also a mindset thing. I mean, I've probably, like most of us, like I slowly had to work myself up to investing like bigger amounts. I remember like when the first time I paid like $1,000 for an online course, I was like, oh my God, right? And I didn't make that money yet in my business. I hadn't made that money. And now I paid like $20,000 for a year of coaching. So, which I would have said is totally insane and crazy a few years ago. So I think, and I think that's normal, and it's not bad. It doesn't mean that you're lacking or have like major money issues when you are not ready to invest like that amount of money right out of the door.
You don't have to,
right?
I have the same. Yeah. When my first coach told me, hey, if you want to work with me, it's $2,000. I was like, $2,000? That's ridiculous. Who's going to pay $2,000 for coaching? And it's just so funny looking at my journey and my rates today when you know that that's where I started. But the truth is also, I was like, I'm not going to pay that. I'm going to figure it out by myself.
And then it took you forever. And you get
like
stuck.
4 weeks later, I was back. 4 weeks later, I was like, okay, where can I send the $2,000? I actually hired the exact same person because she was very patient with me. She was like, look, you don't have to. You can figure it out yourself. If you want a shortcut and have someone who knows the stuff, come back to me anytime. And I was like, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, do you think it's also a German thing because we're just used to get like education for free, like school and university? Everything's paid.
Concept of coaching. I had no concept of coaching, and honestly, my family still doesn't. My family is like, they pay you how much to talk to you? So it's just, I didn't even know about coaching when I lived in Germany, to be honest. I didn't know it's a thing. And then when I started entrepreneurship and noticing that there are many people who can help you with entrepreneurship, but they charge a lot of money for it, I needed to realize, okay, this is actually a business investment. This is not like a personal expense, like, I don't know, going to university or paying for the hairdresser or even like getting therapy or counseling. It's like, okay, if I want to work with this person and learn this thing, it comes with a fee that I need to get used to and maybe wrap my mindset around.
I love that. Yes. So when you are, let's say, I'm a yoga teacher. I have like a business. It's going smooth, but I want to go to the next level. Besides like signing up to work with a coach, is there some actionable advice that you can share? What people should think about maybe first, what they should do, maybe even before they hire someone to work with it to get them to the next level?
Yeah, I think you want to know where you're going. Like, what's your vision? It's like, what do you want to do? Do you see yourself teaching in person, but in a more exclusive setting? Or do you actually want to teach online and have more people? Because there are so many ways you could do this. And you don't want to just hire someone that just, makes you follow steps and then you go somewhere and then you have a totally out of aligned business that you're not happy with, because then you won't pursue that further. So for me, it's super important to figure out what does a client really want? How do they want to grow this business? Do they want to add an additional service? Do they literally just want to do what they're already doing, but doing it on a bigger scale? Some people, I have yoga teachers that turned into coaches. I have also coaches that turned into yoga teachers. It really, there is no one fits all. It's really important to figure out, do you want to change things because you don't want to be teaching anymore like the way you do? Or do you love what you're doing, but you just want to make more money with it and be more successful and have a bigger impact with it?
That's a very good point. I love that. And I totally agree. I think like having a strong mission, it's important, and it's also going to be so helpful. Like, for me, it's like when I started my business, my mission was pretty much like, I want to earn enough money to live in Bali. I didn't have like a bigger picture.
It's $1,000 per month.
Yeah. And then of course it evolved over time, and like what we just talked about with the empowerment of women, and and also like my niche and what I'm focusing on. And it continues to evolve. I think what's also important here to remember is that there's never going to be that one point where you have everything figured out, it's in perfect balance, and you have the perfect strategy, and then you can start. Because I think that's what a lot of people are thinking, especially in the beginning. They want everything to be perfect. Like I have people, I can't start on my website because I have my niche figured out. So I can't build a website, or I can't sign up for your program right now because I still have to figure out all these other things. And then it's just stopping them in their track. And
that's true.
Probably the same situation 3 months later.
The problem is clarity comes from taking action.
Yeah, I love that saying. Yes. 100%.
Exactly. So hard, especially when you're new in business, to be like, okay, what's my niche? What's my message? How are you supposed to know? You need to go out there and do something and try something and talk to people and figure out what you actually enjoy and what you don't enjoy. It's really like, especially the niche thing was one that was holding me back for a while. And also the second one was German or English. I think I did nothing in my business for 4 months because I couldn't get over the question, should I do it in German or should I do it in English?
That's a very common issue that a lot of my students have as well.
Yes.
Right? Or they want to do it like in 2 languages. Like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Really, don't do that to yourself. I tried it with a yoga travel blog I had. It was like, no. Funny, I never had really that question. I started my business right away in English because, back then I was living in Bali and I was just like, I'm never going to go back to Germany. Okay, here we are. But I also love English.
That is the question.
I love speaking English, and I think it just felt right in my gut. I think it really, like whatever is easier for you. I don't think I would have been less successful if I would have started my business in German.
You just have a completely different market, and you can then only work in the German market. And I asked myself a similar question. I was like, well, where do I see this business 5 years from now? Do I see it as a German business in the German market whilst I'm not even in Germany? And I was like, well, no. So even though I felt more comfortable to do videos in German than in English, for example, I was like, well, but that's not what I want to create. So in the end, I will have to switch it all from German to English. So let's start it in English right away.
Love that. Yeah, and I mean, because you're traveling, you're speaking English all the time, probably anyway.
Right? I do. But honestly, at the beginning, I felt uncomfortable, especially with video. And then my writing is not perfect. There's sometimes spelling errors, and then people get upset about those. And I'm like, well, you just have to live with it. I'm not a native speaker.
Yeah, I actually think that writing in English is easier for me than in German now. But definitely talking like freely was more of a challenge. And in the beginning, like I scripted everything. And like, but yeah, now I think thanks to actually coaching that I did in my programs and the podcast or the interviews, where obviously I can't script, that just helped me develop my voice. It just comes to practice.
It gets easier, yes.
Just like practice, everybody. When you just need to get started, right?
Just get started.
Just get started.
Takeaway message here.
Okay, let's go back to coaching. I'm going to use you a little bit of your free time that you're giving me.
Get some 3 months of coaching.
Be my coach.
Tell people how it's done.
Tell me how I can get to multiple 6 figures in my business.
Why do you think you can't get to multiple 6 figures in your business?
No, I think I can. I think I'm on my way. I'm right now. So I started this high ticket group coaching program end of last year. It's the Blissful Biz Incubator. It's a 12-month program where I teach my students how to build a profitable online business, from building their brand to their offers to an online course, and grow it. And I love working with my students. There are 19 amazing women right now in the program. I feel so when I started it, I really struggled to set a high ticket price, because I felt a lot of my audience, they weren't really there yet financially. And so right now the price is, it's actually never public. It's only get it when you apply. I'm just going to share it anyway. It's $5,000 or it's $500 per month. And so when I set that price, I was like, yeah, so that's not going to be my final price. I'm going to increase it. And that's been 7 months ago. And now I'm like, I have to increase my price, and I'm still struggling with that. Is it going to work? Are people still going to sign up for it? Yeah, that's where I am right now.
Do you want to raise it?
I know it's going to help me reach my financial goals, and it's going to help me invest more into the program. And we have a mindset coach now. We have a copy coach. So there's more value as well. Yeah. So that's where I am.
I like it. I think it's very smart that you bring this forward. So what do you think it should be like? How much do you think it should be?
Well, I want to use price increases also to promote it. So I don't want to double it right away, right? So like every few months or something, do a price increase promotion, because it's like another reason to, so I don't want to double it, but I want to get to double the price over a certain amount of time.
Yeah. And what's an increment you feel good with?
Right now I'm thinking of $2,000 more.
So from 5 to 7 to 9 to
probably
10?
From 5 to 7 to 8 to 10. I think 9,000 is probably going to sound weird. So I have to look at the numbers.
Why? There's those rules in our mind. It's like, why does 9,000?
Yeah, all those numbers are so weird. Yeah. So like you look at the numbers, and then I always say, does that number feel good or not? And then I look at different numbers. How does that number feel?
I like that. I like that approach much more than like a logical approach on how.
There is no logical approach to pricing.
Like what percentage should I use to raise this? Blah 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 blah. I like to look at value for the customer, and I again think 1 year of support, which is really enough for you to start your business and earn some money. That's something to consider. And then the thing on your end, like money mindset wise, I just like to get used to the price, to the number. So I do little hacks, like change my computer password to the new price.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah. My very first client. Yeah, for my very first client, I wanted to have $1,500. And I was like, who's going to pay me $1,500? I don't know. So I was still at work there. You had like a screen password that you had to enter every time when you left your desk. So my first password was $1,500, $1,500. And then I signed a client, and I was like, okay, my next client is going to be $1,700. So I raised the rates and changed the password. And every day, several times, I typed in $1,700. It's like a mini manifestation hack.
I love that. Yeah, I have it already. Like I already created like this little vision board as a desktop image with a number on it as well, what I want to earn each month this year. And so I see it every day, but I don't know. I think what I've been struggling with it's felt like building my business. I've been playing a little bit small maybe, and it feels like I'm stuck and not getting like sometimes you see other people and they have like this amazing launch, and for me every launch felt like a struggle.
I hate launching.
Yeah. Okay. It's like, why is it so easy for them? Why is it not happening for me?
Are you a launcher? Do you want to be a launcher?
I don't know. Not really, probably. It's always been really stressful. I get better at not letting it affect me as much. So it can, it affects you positively and negatively, obviously. When you have great results, it's a very great feeling. Launching.
That's what I hate about it, though. It's like, oh, if I've 10 signups, then I love my launch. But if I only have 2 signups, I hate my launch. I don't like that at all, because that makes us, like, other people run our business and other people run our mindset if we do it like that. It's like, well, it depends. If it's going to be successful, then I'm going to be happy to show up every day. But if it's not successful, then I don't know.
So I got better, and so I'm not so stressed about it anymore. But I don't feel like that my results got better. Yeah.
Yes, that's why it's so important to kind of have a business coach and mindset coach, because there are 2 things I would look at. If you would be my client, first I would look at how can we get people into this 12 months program without going through the classic launch calendar where you have, like an open card.
Okay, that's happening. It's on an evergreen.
Yeah, I love that. So the second question is, does it have to be more expensive, or can we just get more people in? It's also an option, It's like there's 2 ways to double this. We can either get 38 women in and see how we can support 38 women in a way that they are actually still super supported, or we can raise the rates. And sometimes I'm like, just take the path of least resistance. And for people who are not big with launching and don't have a big audience, high ticket is very often the solution. Yeah, raise the rates is just very easy way to save your time, save your energy, but still help people and support people in a very close capacity. Some people are great at launching. They're like, no, I'd rather leave it at that price and get more leads and get in front of more people and get in front of more podcasts and maybe get on TV or whatever. And then they get more signups like that. So first part is really what's your aligned way of doing it, what feels good. And then pricing is something you could look at, but also I feel like you don't have to. I feel like just make it 5 next, and then make it 6 next, and see how it goes. I think it's normal that when we raise our rates, we have a fear of, oh my God, what if it's now over the top and nobody's going to ever sign up with me ever again? My mentor, I'm not working with her one-on-one because her one-on-one is $220,000 US. And she has a wait list. So this is fully booked with people paying that. And until you're there, you don't have to worry because there are people paying this. So it's just, again, having some examples and knowing those people where you're like, okay, there's no limit for coaching. Tony Robbins charges $1 million for coaching.
I know. Thanks for giving me those little different ways to approach this. I love it. I'm definitely going to think about that. It felt weird sharing that on my podcast.
But that's how it gets valuable for the listener as well. It's like, how would I get coached? What would I actually ask if I would have a coach on my podcast?
Yeah.
And that's a great question, because what you don't want to ask is something you can also Google. Sometimes I have people in my world and they pay a lot of money to ask me a question. And I'm like, that's your question? Like how to grow your Instagram account? You can find out how to grow your Instagram account. And so I think valuable coaching questions are really very individual questions that help you in your specific situation to see things from a different perspective.
Yeah. So thank you for that. I loved it. Is there anything else I should have asked you?
No, you're the podcast host. Is there anything else that's on your mind?
Anything else you would like to share, to talk about? No. Okay. So where can people go to learn more about you?
So because my last name is so hard to spell, however, the Germans might manage. So it's either susikaeufer.com, or for anyone who's like, how do I spell Kaeufer? Oh my God, it's giving me a nightmare. The company name is dreamlifedeluxe.com.
Dreamlife.
So that's my website. I found that easy too. And it sounds good.
I'll add it to the show notes.
Yes. And then, of course, I am an Instagram girl. So you can find me on Instagram. I'm a Facebook girl. You can send me a message on Facebook or on Instagram. And that's where I hang out.
Great. So where are you traveling to next?
I'm considering to surprise my family, but don't tell anyone. And I'm actually going on a mini honeymoon to Thailand soon.
Oh, lovely. So yeah, when you're around the area here, get in touch.
Yes. Or maybe we'll see each other on Bali one day.
Maybe, though I have a puppy now, my little Corona
Ooh!
puppy. I love
That's
her
such a
to
difficult.
death. I love her to
Yes.
death, but obviously I can't bring her to Bali. So, no, I have a camper van now. I'm exploring Europe. I just haven't decided either where I'm going to go this summer. So first I want to go back to Sweden and Norway. I've been there last summer, and there are still places I want to see. But then I'm also like, I want a real summer. Like with hot weather and the sea and going swimming, like the Mediterranean summer. Yes. So I might actually go there first. I don't know yet.
The freedom of choice.
I know. Yes, it's amazing. No. But thanks so much for being here. I loved our conversation. Thanks for the coaching.
You are more than welcome.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Blissful Biz podcast. If you like the show, please leave a review on iTunes. This would mean the world to me. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast to never miss a new episode. To learn more about how to work with me one-on-one, my courses and membership, or to get instant access to freebies, workshops, and more, go to susannereiker.com right now. Thanks for tuning in and see you next time.